Look, I've got the privilege of closing today's event. I found it absolutely fantastic, thought-provoking, really challenging our thinking, mindsets, and hopefully you all have. I'm all that stands in between drinks, stroke the toilet, for those that have hung on in there, so we haven't got long to go. What I just wanted to remind people. That there is the feedback form, so there is a QR code that will come up at the end, so please do fill in the feedback form so that we get people's thoughts. I suppose in closing this, I was thinking, where are we really at? And I feel like as an industry, we're making a real difference. You only have to hear the inspiring stories today. I mean, that panel that we had earlier, and to hear what they've been doing was phenomenal. But I think the task now for us is slightly different. How do we accelerate this change? How do we really get the stats that Matt and others have shared moving across our industry and across wider society? How do we get more creative about what we're doing? We recently ran here at Aviva Investors a term time working policy, which was intended to disrupt how work is done, to try and facilitate more flexible working. And it was really successful, but it took great leadership. It took a change in mindset from some certain people. So I think we've all got to step into that and think about how we can do those things. In the social mobility area, we heard about how to make change and some brilliant examples there. And I know we work with Progress Together and others will in this room to really drive that forward. From somebody who went to state school and started off his career as a farmer, stood up today, it's a bit of a shift moving into asset management. But I'm really pleased that the barriers are starting to open up across multiple areas. And I recently came across a quote, and I'll read it out. It said, "There are decades when nothing happens. There are weeks when decades happen." And it really made me think about the shift that had happened since COVID and everything that's happened this year. And actually, you know, if you go back and the conversation we heard on hybrid working, that wouldn't have been taking place pre-COVID. And what happened over those weeks has really shifted our thinking. What I think the ask of this group and everybody who's dialed in is to really think about how we can now make that change happen and make sure it's weeks, not decades, maybe months, years, but certainly not decades. And actually, Mitesh mentioned, he said, we will have to get uncomfortable. And that never feels great. But I think as individuals, as organisations, we're going to have to get uncomfortable to really address this. So that's my closing thoughts. I'm now going to move on to some awards. And the first one is for the DP champions. Now, if you're not coming up onto the stage, your job is really simple. It is to clap. It is to whoop. It is to celebrate, dance. Somebody said earlier we have to dance, but I am relying on you to go wild for these. First of all, I'd like to show you who the nominations were. And as you can see, and some of the people you will have seen up here today. So first of all, a round of applause for everybody who was nominated. It's an excellent start on the applause. The next, I really don't want to click this twice and it move on. I wanted to thank the judges for all their hard work. Saving the suspense. So Caroline, Sinead, Denisha, Aaron and Alex for taking the time to do this. So a round of applause for them. And the winners, I am going to ask you to come up onto the stage and accept an award. We're going to do them all together so that you can feel comfortable coming up here. And so the winners are James Stoll, Monique King, Rachel Harris, Sarah Farouk, and the Aviva Investors events team. Come on up. If you're here, come on. Well done, Monty. Well done. Congratulations. Yeah, you don't have to stay there. Congratulations. Well done. Congratulations. You didn't know that was coming, right? Well done. For the rest that will, no doubt, for Rachel and the others that will be online, we will make sure that you get your awards. So the next award is the Chair Award, which is obviously Helena. And there's a few people I just want to recognise as contribution, and then I'll announce the winner and ask them to come up on stage. So the recognition for contribution for DE&I in the workplace is Baljit Barsi from HSBC, Jen Grant from Janice Henderson, and the recognition for contribution as an exec sponsor is Stuart White from HSBC and Stuart Butler from Punita Southall Aspire. So a big round of applause for them. And so the DP Chair Award goes to Jane Stiles. Congratulations, Jane. Well done. Awesome. Thank you. Well done. Yeah, that's it. Just getting Instagram shots in. And then we do have one final award, which is the Jane Stiles Award. So I'm going to ask Jane. Sorry, joking. It's the Jane Welsh Award. So I'm going to ask Jane to...
Thank you. So thank you. I'm delighted to be here to award the inaugural Jane Welsh Scholarship Award. Our winner is Lizelle Sheard, and I hope that she's in the audience somewhere. Excellent. We had a number of fantastic submissions, and we're going to be collating all of the great ideas that were in the essays. The topic was, how do we get more diversity into the investment industry in the UK? And there were lots of wonderful ideas, so we'll be collating those and sharing those with the relevant work streams. I'd like to thank my fellow judges, Helena Morrissey and Herman Brodie. So we had a diverse judging panel. We also anonymised the submissions, so we didn't know who had written what. And we judged them independently before we got together to argue it out, and it was a bit of an argument. We also pre-agreed what the criteria were, which were originality, quality of the writing, and the practicality of implementation. And so we used those criteria to judge all of the submissions. And our winner, Lizelle, really demonstrated great quality in all of those criteria, with a very well argued and thoughtful essay. So thank you very much for taking part. And if you'd like to come up, let's go on.
Congratulations, Lizelle. As Helena mentioned earlier, we are now over 100 member firms, which is a phenomenal achievement. And I think, you know, on that that scale, we really can start to make a difference across our industry. What I would also like to do is thank our partners and supporters and volunteers who have worked not only on today, but throughout all the activities through throughout the year. Our speakers that came up here earlier today, the workstream leads, the individuals that are working outside on the workstream discovery areas, production bureau for the guys at the back who make all this seamlessly happen, Caroline, Charlotte, Abigail, of course Adriana and Linda, and also Mitesh for being MC. So a big, huge round of applause for them. And so the important part, so there is one last task for everybody, and that is your calls to action. So I just want everybody just to take 30 seconds just to think about what your calls to action are. What are your commitments, whether it's go and find an ally, go and get somebody else involved in this, drive this across your organisation, change something across our industry. However big or however small it is, it will make a difference. Here's sort of a summary of some of the calls to action that have come through today. So take 30 seconds, think about it, commit to it, tell somebody else, because if you tell somebody else, you're then really committed to it. And on that note, I'd just like to thank everybody for coming and wish you a safe journey. The drinks and the toilets are just through there.